So we're gonna have a Flashback Friday. We discussed a few times in prior streams. Why don't we watch something in the background? So I thought, why don't we do that? Why don't we go check out a classic? This is the birth of Blue Moon. A lot of people love playing Blue Moon today, but where was its origin? Its origin story was played by the team from Li Tian at Pro Tour Born of the Gods. This deck not only demolished the Swiss, but also made the top 8, and we're going to check out the top 8 match, where it would be up against the best, or one of the best decks in the format, Splinter Twin. But before we go check out this epic match of gigantic proportions, we gotta thank our sponsors, starting with FusionGamingOnline.com. And what a better time to know about Fusion Gaming Online because of their gigantic, amazing, once in a year Black Friday sale. Save up to 25% off store-wide. The deal is this. If you get 15% off the bat, but if you can spend more than $500, you get an additional 5% off. So you get 20% off. And if you can exceed $1,500 Canadian dollars, that's like 1,200 American, you get 25% off. This is the deal basically of the year. This is the time to get your shopping done. And don't forget, the deals don't end there. You can get an additional 5% off when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. That's like 35% off. That's insane. Just insane. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. There's a lot of new decks that came up at MTG Las Vegas. You know what? If you were an Amulet Titan fan because it didn't look like Amulet Titan was well positioned in the metagame, well, it made two people made the top 8 with that deck. Maybe that is the right deck for you, but before you find out, you're just going to want to rent it first before you buy into it. Or maybe you just want to play it as the flavor of the month. You can rent it with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Okie dokie. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, James, Frederick, and Andrew, Mikey J, Whittaker. Good morning, Ventric, Kaya. Someone, somewhere, gold medals, Marie, Trevor, Tommy. Good morning, Jarl, Sean. How much is that maple syrup? I heard the stock of maple syrup is going up. I mean, sorry, not the stock. The stock price, because the inventory is going down. We have less maple syrup than there used to be. Apparently. Good morning, Matthew. Yes, there's international shipping. They'll ship internationally. Good morning, Unstoppable Rob, Jason, Tommy, German Serrano. Not a fan of Primetime, but I love resolving a dream render against it. Ooh, who doesn't? Good morning, Dakota. All right, so let's try this new format out where we can still have questions. We're gonna still have Q&A, but we're gonna watch a little bit of magic in the background. We did this once. Let's try to do it again. Okay, so just a heads up, this is Li Tian on Blue Moon versus Splinter Twin. We'll just skip to basically the first turn of the game because there's just a bunch of shuffling in the beginning.
Basically, blue-red combo.
If this is too loud, let me know. I can adjust the volume.
Can untap the Splinter Twin guy and then go off and just attack with those infinite guys.
All right, so we're underway here, and Ansi's
Jarl's been playing Storm in Modern. Back in at this time, Storm was a very, very good deck because there was almost no answers to Storm whatsoever. This is the time before Force and Negation. Oh, and there it is. There's the Splinter Twin, people. That's the Splinter Twin. Oh, you don't see that these days anymore. You don't see that these days.
Definitely win a game where your opponent just misunderstood what was going on.
Right.
The Jean Marush Nilia. Sorry, butchering your name. Hi, is there a way to grind event tickets without a huge budget? Is Modern the good format? I use Mana Traders, but a lot of Modern decks are pricey. Is there a way to grind event tickets without a huge budget? Yeah, you can play Pauper. You can play Pauper online. You can play the Pauper Leagues. Buy your deck for almost nothing.
Can win without even playing their combo.
Yeah, Pauper is basically the way. I heard it's a way for a lot of people to get in very low investment, but you can grind. You can grind ticks, you can grind play points, and eventually, work your way into much bigger decks.
Here's an interesting one.
So Li Shichan plays the
Ansi's plan.
what's it called? Vidalcan Shackles, which was sort of a niche card at the time. No, unplayable.
So
But it had the
Alkio's
advantage of
gonna
like stealing.
basically keep in mind that thing
If you
for
had
the
enough
rest of the game,
islands, it
unless
had the
has a way
advantage of
to
stealing,
maybe
you know,
bounce it
Splinter
or
Twin creatures.
interact with it in some way.
Right, from Lee's side of the table, what you want to focus on is just keeping two
And that was
mana
in the
up without
main deck.
shackles.
The main
Both
deck, people.
Pestermite with 2 power,
Unstoppable
Deceiver
Rob.
Exarch with
Storm was one of the
power.
decks I
Very
would
easy
always lose
targets
to and would
for
just have
Vidalcan
to race
Shackles.
it.
And even
Some
playing
people
something
still
like a
feel that way, but
Snapcaster
not
Mage
so much
becomes a
anymore.
lot
We all got
riskier
answers to
because your
Storm.
opponent can then start using
not
it
the
to put
same as
you-
it used to
put
be.
you under pressure.
Okay, now does Ansi have any way to interact with the
Cheapest
Vidalcan
format
Shackles
is
in
Penny
this main deck? Remember,
Dreadful.
we're
Yeah,
in
but
game
can you
right.
grind ticks
He's
with
got a couple
Penny
cryptic
Dreadful? I
commands,
don't know.
which could, in theory,
I think
bounce
that's
it.
just like a
The other
complete
thing
like
is, I haven't played a ton
funsy
with,
format.
Splinter Twin against Vidalcan Shackles, but
Yeah, it's like not an
Kiki
official
can
format, so
still
you can't
combo, right?
grind that
Or I
format.
guess you steal the Kiki Jiki and then the combo doesn't work.
Twin seems safe and never
right.
format
Yeah,
warping.
I
I
think you
doubt it.
steal the
I
Kiki.
would
Yeah,
sincerely
it's
doubt that
like
we could
Splinter Twin.
unban Splinter Twin
You're
and
not
then
gonna see
say,
any
oh, it's
mismatch
not going to
happen.
do
Basically,
anything.
Lucian's
I think it
gonna
would
leave
do
it untapped,
something.
and Alkio's not going to go for it.
I think it
Well,
would be a
but
very strong
it's
deck,
kinda funny,
maybe
like, he
still
has
one
the
of the
Splinter
best
Twin version of
decks.
his
And
combo,
you, I'm
then the
telling you,
problem
you
is
will
that
not
Shackles
like
will
playing
steal
against
it
Splinter
out from
Twin.
under the
A
Twin feature.
second
If he's got
Vidalcan
Kiki version of the
Shackles.
combo,
Li
then
Shichan, you
he's
monster.
Now,
That is
Spellskite, is that a
disgusting.
thing
And
for
in the
Ansi?
main
I know that
deck.
some of these lists,
What the
will-
hell?
Spellskite, that is the other way he can
Now,
go.
mind you, at this time, they just
So, yeah,
unbanned. I think they
Vidalcan
unbanned Wild
Shackles.
Nakatl for
I
this
mean,
tournament.
Aki seems like he knows
Because
this is
Wild
annoying.
Nakatl
This
was
is
so
gonna create
scary,
problems
right?
for him. And so the first one, I think he felt he could play
So,
around. Now the second one is definitely
maybe
hitting a
this was
pause.
just tack
We don't
against the
know
small
what's
zoo
in
decks.
Alki's
Or you want to play
hand.
Kurt Ape? Well,
I'm
we're going to steal
assuming
that Kurt
it is a
Ape.
cryptic command, and it is. I can see it there, although
He doesn't have
Leash-
cryptic command mana. yet.
Tron, Burn,
does,
Storm Control, 4-color
does it
Death Shadow
not?
Humans.
No,
That's your
he's only got
metagame.
3 untapped, right?
Super diverse.
yeah, you're correct. And
a
also,
remand.
Li Shichan has 2 mana up.
I don't see a Splinter Twin as a problem, to be honest. Well, you don't see the
What's the
problem
response? What did he just
until
do?
it happens.
I think he was trying to cast
think he
Spell
cast the
Snare,
wrong
but he
card.
accidentally
Yeah.
grabbed Snapcaster.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like that
okay.
is not how much Snapcaster
Yeah.
Mage costs.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think
he
Twin would be
spells-
the new trickery deck. I mean,
Little
it's a
bit of
lot
top eight
slower.
jitters going
It's
on
way
there.
slower.
I think so. I mean,
And
and
we've
now-
all
Okay,
reached
so
for
they
the
tried to
wrong
fight
card
over
many
this
times,
thing. The
for
fight
sure.
failed.
right now, I
But
mean,
because,
Jen has 2
Ansi
shackles out, doesn't have the
Alkio
mana
has to
cast
fight,
it to
It now
actually
means
activate
that
it.
he
So
can't
it's
play
sort of a
like,
shields
Deceiver
down
Exarch or
Well, yeah, but
anything.
he doesn't have enough mana to tap out.
Exactly.
If he hadn't cast the remand, the dream.
Here's a
would have
good
been
question.
and
Does
set
Li
Pestermite
Shichan
on
have like
Splinter Twin.
anything to interact?
that.
Oh no, there's always this
Right,
shackles
and
on the
which
board,
is
so
where you were
he's
going
never
with
in
that.
any danger.
Precisely. Now, Chen,
Oh yeah,
he
look at
has
that.
2
Li
Snapcaster
Shichan
Mages,
loves
and
to
the Vidalcan Shackles
slow
put him
roll
in a
the
really
cards
good
on
place.
himself.
The downside for Chen is that
So he doesn't really have
the
to do
Snapcaster
anything.
Mages don't really have a lot of targets right now. Hard for him to get ahead. So Alkio's under no pressure.
I'm not sure
right
whether
to
or
remove
not
those Vidalcan
unbanning Twin would
Shackles.
be
Right.
healthy
Now,
for
Li
Modern,
Shichan
but it would
does have
definitely
that
have an
batter
impact
skill in
because
his
of
hand.
how
It is
easy it
one of
slots into a
his
lot of different decks.
relatively few finishers in the
And it
deck,
would be
but
a
he is under
nightmare
no
playing against
obligation to
something like
cast
Blue
them this
Moon, because
early
you'd
in
be
the
like,
game.
are they playing Twin? Or are they not playing Twin? I mean, that's the edge I guess you have for
So-
playing Blue Moon. And that did happen in
Now
this
we're on
tournament.
Alkio here.
You know, when people look at Li
I
Shichan's
think the
deck,
Shadow Skull is
they're
gonna
like,
stay in Shitian's hand
is
until
this
he has plenty of
Twin?
mana. Like, he does not wanna
or like,
tap
what's
below
going
the
on
Vidalcan
here? Like, you
Shackles
never
now.
play any Deceiver
I mean,
Exarchs
every
or
time- if he
Pestermites,
taps-
and I
if he
side
taps
in all
out
this
main phase,
removal,
Alkio
which is
could just kill him.
useless.
And Tian knows that. He's not planning to tap out.
Can we
main
watch
phase.
in the
You know, he
background
risks
the
those
matches
shackles
Reed
so that he
Duke
could sit behind the
said
wall
in his
defense.
article are the best
He's
MTG
done
matches of all
tapping
time?
out.
Yeah, sure, we could do
He's
that.
done
If you
Master
can
Blades here as well, so
DM
same
me the link,
problem.
to, like you got to
Yeah,
DM me the
those
link
finishers,
to
you
like
just
maybe
won't
the
tap
article
mana.
or the
Maybe
matches
it's
you want
six
to
play
you guys
master
want to
with
see.
one shackles.
And
On
I think
Facebook
you
or
have
Twitter.
to just in order to start doing
And we
something,
see how
put
this
your foot
works.
to
We do this
temptation
once in a while
when
because
playing
we
a
can
control
still
deck
still
like
do a
this is to
Q&A
get
while
ahead of
there's
yourself
this
instead of
magic
trying
thing
to
in the
end
background.
game. But, you know,
Legit
against a
question:
deck like
how would
Twin,
Twin have
it's not
held
as though,
up
okay, your
to
opponent's gonna stick
the
a threat
OG
that you're dealing
Eldrazi
with.
deck
You're
had
just
Twin
gonna
not
get
been
hit.
banned?
Right, so
People
the
experimented
problem
with
here
this.
is
It's
that
close,
Ansi
but
Alkio
Twin
gets to
lost.
keep sculpting
Because
his
like
hand
the
with these
Eldrazi
same
deck
additions
just
with
spewed a
his
bunch of
cast
stuff
and
out by
setting up
turn
where
2
he
before
has
Twin could like
multiple
legitimately
redundancy as far as
interact with it.
counterspells go.
You could, in theory, play like Eye of Ugin turn 1 and just put a bunch of Eldrazi Mimics in play, and that's it. That's it for the Twin player. That's it. They're done for. Turn 2 Thought Knot Seer is still a really strong card. Thought Knot Seer was the shit.
Against most decks
Still
this
is,
weekend,
really.
he's been able to play Blood
Oh
Moon,
man, I
which
forgot
like
they
most
play
of the
Master of
cards.
Waves as a
And
win
it's kind of a
condition.
bad
That is so
matchup for
sick.
Tian
Because they play like Spreading... Blue Moon plays
Alkio isn't
Spreading Seas and
particularly
Blood
vulnerable
Moon
to
to
Blood
lock you
Moon,
out
right?
of all your
He's
colors.
got basic islands. He likes red
And then the
mana,
Master
has
of Waves
spells
will
with red
use
mana,
all
so,
those
like,
blue
he's
all
fine
that
for
blue
mana.
devotion
In
to like
fact,
take
he's so
over.
resilient with
Lightning
Blood Moon
Bolt
that he
back
plays
then
his
was
own
like
inside
the
of
best
Blood Moon.
removal spell.
So
It's still
this
pretty
zero
good,
vision
but
here
Lightning
for
Bolt
Chen
was
is
like just
huge
the
because it
best.
means that
The
now
best of the
Snapcaster
best.
mages can generate value as opposed to just being.
Some players
2 mana,
shuffle their
2/1
hand, and
creatures.
some players just
I
sit
actually
their
don't
hand on the
hate
table. I
idea
sit mine
of
down more
Explore
often
the
than
last
shuffle
several
my
turns,
hand.
just running a
You know
Snapcaster
what?
Mage out there to
Personally,
start
for
applying
me,
pressure. But now
I
with zero
learned
visits
that
in your graveyard means he doesn't have to tap 5
shuffling my
call
hand
4
takes
for
a lot of
major
energy
wins.
out of me. Like,
You
it
can play
takes a
3, get a threat on
lot
the
of
table,
energy, like just
generate some
constantly
card
shuffling all
advantage,
day.
and,
So I
also
try to
just
make a
draw
habit
the
of,
more
like,
lands
after
so
I'm
that
done
that
making my
counter score
decisions, I
master
just put
breaks
my hand on the
online.
table so I
So if
don't
you're in
tempt
lead seed,
myself.
you wanna
Because I
start
do like
pressing
shuffling my
some
hand while I'm
amount of
playing
advantage
competitive
here.
Magic. I do like
I
doing
think
that.
so. I mean, the thing is, like, if you don't, you know, your opponent's just going to sit there and draw cards.
I've been playing
and your
Wandering
opponent's
Mind
deck
in
is
my
the one
Yorion
that
deck, and
gets
it's been
to
incredible
operate
for
at
card
instant
selection.
speed.
Thoughts?
And in a matchup where you
Wandering
have two sort of
Mind.
pseudo control decks, the one that has flash cards, spells, creatures, threats, tends to have the advantage.
All right, so we get a look at
3 mana,
Alkio's
2/1.
hand here. A
When it
pair of
enters the battlefield, look at the
Deceiver
top 6
Exarchs,
cards of
so
your
that's
library. You may reveal a non-creature,
interesting.
non-land card from among them,
they
put
can
it into your
actually tap
hand.
the shackles by sort of
Non-creature,
giving themselves up.
non-land. Put the
Like,
rest
if he
on the
goes
bottom
end
of your
step
library in a
some of the
random
Deceiver
order.
Exarch, he can, instead of
In your
untapping one of his
Yorion
own
deck, and
things,
it's
he
been
can
incredible for
tap
cards.
the
It's
opponents
it's
without
not
the
bad.
shackles.
So it's like a
Now,
2/1
Lucian will
flying
respond by
creature.
stealing the
It's
Exarch,
not bad, really.
But okay, I mean, you effectively
And you
got
grab a
the triple
card.
effect. Like, if he's got enough mana that he can run 2 of those out, to
I
get
can
both,
give the
you know,
thumbs
force
up
both
on
the
that card.
shackles to fire off.
It's good for.
Now he's got a
I
clear
think it
way
is
to
good for
combo off.
value.
That's right.
Another thing that he can do with those.
Got to
is
watch the
to,
2012
I
World
guess,
Championship where
reduce basically,
Shenhar
you know,
won
Chad has
after
2
being down
shackles.
0-2.
With
Yeah, and
only
against
2
was it
mana
against
open, he can
Boggles or
actually
something?
tap an island.
Yep.
I am the
Force,
Merfolk Finals
Lee
guy.
to use the shackles,
I'm not the
creating
only
more
Merfolk
Yeah, I mean,
Finals guy.
it's
There's 2
3
other
mana
Merfolk
to
Finals
essentially
guys.
tap one
I was
permanent,
one.
but-
I was one
I mean,
out
that's
of
the
the
kind of hand
3
he needs to
Merfolk
sculpt to
Finals
get out
guys
from
that
under
did
those
not
shackles.
win
He can't combo
the
kill while
finals.
there's shackles and untapped mana.
We saw
But I had the
Alkio's
toughest
were both
opponent.
at least
I was
you
up
can't
against
face
a
it.
Hall
He
of
knows that there's no
Famer,
other relevant targets. There's germ
big.
floating around.
Well, I was up against Josh
Yes,
out of
that is
Leighton.
just better snaps. And he knows, and he actually knows that Li Shijian does have a
Yeah, he
Snapcaster as well.
accidentally-
See.
Would
accidentally
Shackles
attempted
be
to
good in
counter that spell
Merfolk?
with
Not
that.
really. We got a lot of non-islands.
But it looks like he doesn't.
It would be.
he's not
it's
too worried about
okay.
Snapcaster Mage's,
But it would. I
attacking
never thought there was ever a
performance
position
instead
in
of just
Modern where it
Snapcaster
was like
bolts.
where it would be great.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
Blue
that
Moon still
play,
viable
you
in
know,
the format
it's
today?
very
Yes,
efficient,
there are
but- and
people.
he's got an
They're playing
Electrolyze
with
in his hand,
Murktide
so
right
it
now,
might be
so the
trying to
deck has
beat
evolved
out
to
from
play with
Chan as
Murktide, so it has a
Snapcaster,
really
which gets
fast
some
kill.
value with Electrolyze.
But it's
At the
very
same
playable
time,
right now.
I think Chan's most likely
Good
threat
morning, Brandon.
is going to be a Snapcaster Mage, at least at first, because that requires the least commitment. He's got Serum
Digging
Vision, so
through
it looks like
greater
he's
than
like,
10% of your deck is good
So if
as long as
you're
it's card
in Li
advantage.
Shijian's
Right.
seat right
What's
now,
worse, excessively
what's
shuffling
your
your
game
hands or
plan? I mean,
playing
he seems
mismatched
content to just
basics
keep hitting
in
land drops and let the
constructed?
game go long right
Hey,
now
hey,
while
some
sitting on
people
his
like
Falcon
variety.
shackles.
Some
Once he's
people
got
like
enough mana, he'll
variety.
play a master or a
I have
battle
nothing
spell
against
and
that.
Still be able to activate the,
The
two shackles. I
Gene.
mean, he's close to that,
Does
right?
do
He's
people
on-
over
he could
in
tap
America
5
know
and
the
have
most
4
played
untapped.
format
He
in
should
Europe
worry
by
about,
far
you know,
is
multiple
Dual
Exarchs coming
Commander?
down.
Is it? I had no
But
idea.
interestingly, I mean, if
With
I
20
find
life
Lee Sin,
points,
I
by the way,
sit there
you're
and I
kind of
think, like, if
famous
my
in France, like a
opponent did
Merfolk
run out
Pope.
Lightning Bolt, if
I should go
sit
to
here
France
long enough,
and wear a
can I
Pope
get
hat
Lightning
then.
Bolt? Can I get Electrolyze out
And
of
go
his
where I'm
hand?
famous.
And then my Snapcasters
Had no idea.
suddenly are threats that might actually stick.
What are we
So I
watching?
think
Why
maybe
are
once you see
shackles
that
being
eye, just
played?
once
We're
that
watching
discard
the
is
2000. What is
So
it?
Nancy Alkio discards Splinter Twin
2014?
as he was at 8 cards, missing a
Yeah,
land drop. There's another
2014
Snapcaster
Pro
off the
Tour
top
Born
for
of the
Li Shijian.
Gods. Blue
And
Moon
that's one of
versus
the
Splinter
reasons
Twin.
why we probably saw him Lightning Bolt. Is he's gonna have to discard anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
What are we
That's
gonna call this? Flashback Friday? I don't
So
intend
here's
on doing this
Snapcaster
every
Mage
Friday,
gonna
but
be on a Serum Vision
and we can
here.
still
You
ask
mentioned
questions.
earlier,
We can
Zach,
still
this is a
talk.
way for Li Shijian
I
to,
just hope that
get
this
ahead,
is
stay
quiet
on
enough. Let me know if the
cards,
volume
use
is
land
good.
drops, and
I don't
also
want.
potentially apply some pressure.
I'd rather they're way more
And
quiet than I
think
am.
You have to do that eventually, but
So it
again,
doesn't
I mean,
sound like I'm
what I
talking over them too
appreciate
much.
about Lee's play right here is that
Wait,
you know,
Merfolk
there's
made
really
the
no
GP
reason to get
finals
hurt.
3
The way
times.
a lot of people lose blue
Did
on
it 3
blue matchups
times.
is they feel kind of compelled to do something. And again, that's
Unstoppable Rob says, yeah, I remember when Nikachu was up against 2 Death Shadows and still won. Correction, I beat only one of them. I did win some games. I guess overall in games, I was 3 and 2.
Yeah, that was a main phase.
So I was up in games, but I was down in, I was even in matches.
activation.
When are we
on
watching
Snap.
your
But it's a main
Grixis Death
phase snap
Shadow
master, so they
Merfolk
can flashback.
GP
Yeah.
thing
Sure,
from
it's
Vancouver?
right. And,
We could do that another
Alakio,
time.
though, wants to make sure that he doesn't get that card off the top with Serum
Coffee
Vision
and
first,
Past
Snapcaster
in
Mage's
Flames
gonna
with
be dead. He
Nikachu?
wants to make sure he can go as
Doesn't
long as he
sound
needs to get all the
natural.
tools acquired.
I wonder if Alkio has enough stuff.
We could just call it the
Is this the
Past
window?
in
Like,
Flames.
Liu Shiqian
Although
had
that makes it
3
sound
mana.
bad.
I mean, Alkio cycled through his Electrolyze. It's getting close.
You're
right?
listening to Nikachu talking
so, I
over
mean,
the
yes,
dulcet
Exarch,
tones of
Exarch,
Marshall
Pastor
Sutcliffe
Mite,
and
Twin, and two
the screeching
cryptics.
of Randy. Am
So,
I?
I mean, he's getting into a position to
There's
be
no
able to fight a
screeching
fight.
today.
It's just a matter of, I think,
Can Blue
just
Moon go
how
for
many
6
manas he
fetches
had
today
access
instead
to.
of 8?
Yeah, the
Probably
three
not,
seems
because
like a lot
they
on
need the
here.
fetch lands to
You know,
go
yeah,
get their
'cause if he
islands
had
before they play
6
their
mana,
Blood
he can
Moon.
play all
Like,
three
that's
of
the
them.
point of
Right, he
whole
could
whole
Exarch
deck.
Shackles, get it
Fetch,
stolen,
get
After
island.
Body Shadows,
Fetch,
get it
get
stolen,
island, then
play
boom.
his third
You play the
Deceiver
Blood
X
Moon,
card
you're
and
not
Splinter
affected,
Twin.
they're
And
affected.
then despite all that,
That's right. He's
He's close.
unfortunately.
He's
Where's
one
Lee
mana
from?
short
He's
right
from
now.
Hong
He's got
Kong.
8
He's a
right now.
super
So
proud
he's
Hong
second field
Konger, and
makes sense.
he usually posts a lot of stuff
complicated
about
matchup
freeing
there.
Hong Kong.
Absolutely.
You know, both players' hands are basically pretty full.
Loves
you've got
Hong
a lot of
Kong.
options.
And two
Yeah,
Vidalcan
Alkio-
shackles on the
Bearer with
battlefield
Opal
makes
Bend.
things
Do you
pretty
think
tough
KCI could
for
be
him, 'cause he
unbanned?
makes it
No!
really
Would it see
stretch
play?
it.
Yes!
Akio
It
did
would
not
most
land
definitely
off
see
easy to
play.
utilize or his draw
The
phase.
thing with
So
Clark
he's
Clan
looking at
Ironworks,
having
some
to
people would
try
say,
and
oh,
it's
it
kinda too
lost
bad
an
he likes
engine
all
piece.
individual
But at the
stars.
same
Right.
time, it's so
Remained
powerful.
amazing in matchups like this
KCI is the
because
type of
sometimes you
deck
can
that,
target your own spell
like, when
and
you...
actually generate card
KCI is the
advantage
type
off
of deck that, like,
relevant
once it
mana, for
resolves,
example, a
you have, like, a
cryptic.
lot of mana available
crazy
to you,
how you
and
don't
just
match
bad
up.
things
Gets
can
rid of the
happen.
Pester
Did
Mite,
he
though.
just
Discard
discard, like, a Pester Mite
And that's
to
another thing
hand
you
size?
Really needed a land there. Like running out of land is when you lose.
Exactly, and that's why those cantrips are so
See, like,
powerful.
it's funny enough, they're just trying to make their
Jen might
land
just be saying,
drops.
okay, my opponent has a lot of cards. I don't want to give him remand targets to draw on any more lands. But when you're sitting here and your opponent's discarding,
This is insane.
You're heavily incentivized not really to do anything because you basically got
Just
a
sent a
card
link
advantage
via
just
Twitter.
with
All
your
right,
opponent's
sweet.
draw step.
Now, Li
We'll check it
Shiqian
out.
has 6 cards in hand, and he's drawn a second Blood Moon. He hasn't run out the
Well,
first
I'll
one.
check it out assuming this does well. The numbers so far pretty low,
I guess there's some snapcasts.
but it might be
Yeah,
because
Snapcaster
everyone's
gets
doing some
spell snare.
fantastic
Skull
Black
Monster
Friday
avoids a Blood
shopping,
Moon
which you
and,
should all should do. Right now, you got to get that value.
If they, all they get is
Pasting coffee. How about
There's
Flashback
spell
Fridays? I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, all
Although
those
I don't
cards
have no
might be,
intention of
you know,
actually doing
big,
this on
like,
Friday,
way
so
later
it could
in
be
the
like
game. You see a lot
Flashback
using
Friday,
these
but then
snack
one
decks
day
that
if I
he just
decide
wants
to do
draw
this on
more
Wednesday, it
lands
was
to
like
turn those
Once
cards
Upon a
on.
Time
One
Wednesday. I don't
thing
know.
here, isn't it? We talked about how Alkio's
He's
deck
going
is
for the
not
Blood
super
Moon,
vulnerable
people.
to
He's going for the Blood Moon. You know what
but
that
you know what?
means.
He wants to build up a
Antsy
board
gotta,
of
like, go get them
blue-
islands.
He wants to cast a lot
Otherwise,
of
he's
blue spells all
screwed.
on the same turn.
Gotta
His
get as
Blood
many
Moon sort of
islands as
prevents him from
possible.
doing that.
Yeah, and I really like Blood Moon here because you know your opponent needs to make land drops.
You force him to crack all his fetch lands.
Exactly. Force him to crack all his fetch lands. Remove
LOL.
lands from his
Please
deck,
bring
making it
KCI
even more
back.
likely he's just gonna
Yeah, yeah.
draw and start discarding.
Yeah, Alkio, the fact that he
Which
went
is
on
more
those
important for a
turn draw phase,
merfolk,
finding
Force of
lands.
Negation or Cavern? I would say
Li
Force of
Shiqian's also
Negation.
made sure
Cavern
to
is
wait
like
until an opportune moment
really
to
nice
advise
versus
as he now
control,
has
but Force of
mana to not
Negation
only
is just
activate both
good
shackles, but
versus,
also
like,
cast
everything.
Snapcaster and Flashback spell snare in case that becomes an issue.
Right.
So
Spell snare counters
Would
remand.
this match be
fully set
taken
up
down
and
for
counter
social
command.
credit reasons? I doubt it.
The spell snare not really. at
China
its
has
best
no
in this
power
matchup.
over
I think its
YouTube.
only big targets are Remand, Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah.
But fortunately, those are two of the premier spells in this. In a blue-on-blue matchup.
But the new
It prevents
Audric
something
can
from
be
happening
useful
like
with
against
KCI
Snapcaster, where it's
ban
just gonna be
and
an instant
Eldrazi
clock.
Displacer. What?
I mean, with the shackles,
new
it's not an
Audric?
issue, but ordinarily in the matchup.
What a strange game.
Yeah, this is
Those
a
two
very bizarre
shackles,
game.
and then Li Shiqian has done.
I guess
absolutely nothing
this
else.
is the new
And-
Audric.
and I
When
mean,
it enters the
Alkio's
battlefield,
hand
create
is
X blood
amazing,
tokens,
right?
Rex the
Yes,
number of
it's the
abilities.
exact kind of hand that you want in this matchup.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
His hand is ridiculous. Look at
Oh,
his
I
hand.
see. You
Snapcaster,
create artifacts, but the
Double
new Audric
Deceiver,
can be useful
Exarch
with
Remains,
KCI.
Splinter
Well, we
Twin,
don't
Double
want to
Deceiver.
give
Now
KCI
he's got
more
1, 2,
tools.
3,
I don't think that
4,
card would
5
see
islands
playing
on the battlefield
KCI,
here as well.
but we certainly don't want to give
That's
KCI more
Snapcaster.
tools.
you were getting to the point where like
No,
you're,
yeah,
you're
I had to
kind
get
of
donuts. What did I
tempted-
miss? Well, they've made land drops for the last million turns. They've
you're
actually done
kinda tempted
nothing.
To just start trying to bounce those
But it
shackles
looks
at
like
the
I
edge
think there's
on
a
the
Blood
cryptic.
Moon on the
I would
battlefield
agree.
now.
The
We got a
thing
Blood
is, like,
Moon.
you can't
got a Blood Moon,
expect that
people.
Your opponent's hand is like a bunch of threats. You know, you have to expect at least a single counter.
But
spell.
it looks like
Yeah, that's the
Ansi
thing.
has
He's- the reason
all
Alkio's not
his
going for it is that
islands.
he's
He's got
thinking
5
about the fact
islands
his
in
opponent's
play.
deck has Cryptic Command. His opponent's deck has
How good is
Remand,
Goldspan
Mana
Dragon in Modern?
You know,
I
he
think
can
it's
easily have-
garbage.
and Spell Snare.
Like, I honestly
He
think
can
for
easily
5
snap
mana
casters
you can
for
do
5
better.
back. So
Just
Alkio
getting
is
more
playing
mana on the
around
battlefield
mission
is
that
not
isn't even in Li Shiqian's hand.
interesting to me. That's right. If we do this
And
on
Alfio
Tuesday, it's going to be
cracking all
Temporal
those webs,
Tuesday.
has
Once
plenty
upon a
of blue
time,
mana
Wednesday,
for the first
Flashback
cryptic.
Friday.
I actually think
He's got 5
Think
blue.
about the past Thursday.
Yeah, but he needs 6 blue on the same turn in order to cast both cryptics, which means that he can't
Something for
protect
Monday.
that with Remand, given the current state of
What do you
his
think
board.
about Terramander as
Actually,
being a
he
similar
can't
Murk
cast
type
both
but works
cryptics on
with
the same
Lurrus?
turn either, so.
No, he can't. He's really tight down
Um,
here, though. He does seem like he wants to do
I think it's
something. If he did
vulnerable.
draw
I think it's
lands,
too
then he
vulnerable
has
on the
light
earlier
enough for
turns of the game. I think it's a card, and maybe one day Modern can break it, but like right now, it's just a bit too weak and takes too much to work to build to grow.
You can tap a lot of things. You can counter a lot of things. Your opponent can steal stuff, and you can
Numbers are
respond
low
to
because of
those
Thanksgiving and
triggers.
Black Friday. I'm fine
Yeah,
with
Akio
all
has
of us
not won
watching a
the
match with you
Modern all weekend.
commentating.
He's the only
I don't have
MVP
much to
player in the entire
commentate right
field.
now.
But I
And then,
think
oh,
he's
you know,
playing
in
a
my
lot
mind,
of
this,
players
like,
without
when
the
you're
Jack.
really playing a
This
game
is
like
not
this,
in-
it's,
I mean,
like, really
the Blue Moon deck
tense
is not in anybody's
and
playtest comp,
epic,
except for the MTG
because,
mid
you
guys.
know, no
We
one wants
noticed
to
it
make
at
the
the
first
last
move,
Modern
fight a
season.
counter war, and
That's a
then
really great thing, and
then
I
the other
think about
guy
playing a deck like this, is that you
untaps and
play
does something
pre-
big. Like,
post
look, he doesn't want to do
all of your
anything at end of
opponent's
turn. He's so scared.
configurations, and they're
And like he
probably not
knows
against
that if
yours,
he,
meaning
even
they're
if he
having to do a
wins
lot
the
more
counter
thinking on the
war
fly.
with Deceiver
Well, you've kind
Exarch
of
or
scripted it.
Pestermite, the Vidalcan Shackles will still steal it. So he's in like not really a good spot whatsoever.
For his turn as well.
He's just in a bad spot. But Li Shi-chan still has no way to win the game.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to play it tapped, and you know, again,
Looks like, and he has no counter magic either. Like he's just completely screwed on counter magic. He's got a Snapcaster Mage which can find a spell snare. Not very valuable.
Time? Akia's thinking, no, not time.
Nicholas, what do you think that Delver, even if
Akio
it's a
certainly
staple in
has
other
options
formats,
here,
failed
but he just
miserably to
doesn't
see
feel
play
like
in
he's under any pressure
see any play in
whatsoever to
standard?
make any
It did
moves
see
here.
play
I
in
mean, he
standard,
can-
not this
he has
standard,
plays that can
but in the
perhaps win
past
any
standard
combo
it
in the
did.
But how-
I can't really explain. I don't play
right? I mean,
standard,
is
so I
this
don't know
like-
what
do
the
you think there's
environment
something
is. I don't know if
specific
there's
in
not
his
enough
mind that
instants
he's
and
trying to figure
sorceries
out,
to
well,
make
I
the
get
card
these
work.
7
I know
attack
when
cards, then I'll go
Delver
for
worked
it.
before, I
thought
think
he
it was
was
in an
also
Esper
aware
shell
for
with
Li
Lingering
Shijian, though, so
Souls,
he's
so that
finally
you could
gonna,
fall back on
be
Lingering
assertive
Souls, because
here.
you need a lot of
Put out
instants
some-
and sorceries
some
in your
power and
deck.
toughness
And if
to
you
start
don't
bringing
have
down
enough,
with.
then
And he
I
drew
mean,
a
you're
Vapor
screwed.
Snag, which
Oh
lets
my
him,
God, the
bounce
Master of Waves
Waves
has
if
been
it's
played.
targeted. It allows him to play Snapcaster
There it is,
Mage
people.
and
The
bounce it
Master
back
of
to his
Waves.
hand
This might
again.
get cryptic commanded though.
And Vapor Snag also obviously can target Pestermite or Splinter Twin.
That's right. I mean, does
Do you
Ansi
fire
pick a
Cryptic
fight,
here?
Cryptic, bounce one of your
Right.
shackles, and then
Cryptic and Bounce of Shackle seems at least tempting.
yeah. Although he doesn't have the mana to play a second Cryptic to counter it back.
But he just wants,
Yeah.
like,
What
he
is
doesn't
this?
need to win the
They have a
fight
lot of
once he gets
power
there.
over
He just
Google
needs to
who
get
own.
mana
China has no
like, the
power
way
over
Akio
YouTube. They have a
wins
lot
is
of
he
power
picks a
over
fight
Google
on
who
Li
owns it.
Shijian's
Google
turn,
constantly
and then a
cases
bunch
the
of mana
demands of
gets
the
tapped, and
CCP.
then
Do
Akio
they?
untaps and wins.
There's
That
a
way,
lot
Akio is-
of. I think
that's
there's a
the
lot
point.
of
If you
stuff
pick a
on
fight, he
YouTube
does
that
not need to
China
win the
would
first
prefer
fight.
to
He
not
just
have
needs
there
to get
that
Li Shijian to
exists.
tap
So
in.
I mean, they
I
don't have
love
that
this.
much.
Yeah, the fact
That they
Li
don't have that
Shijian
much leeway.
volunteered to tap 4 means Tiani
They
is gonna
don't
now
own
get fighting
Google.
sense.
And-
All right, so
we're
Ansi's
about
going
to
to
see
lead off
something.
with Deceiver Exarch here, and it looks like this game.
Yeah.
How
is
well
gonna get
positioned is
underway in a
Stoneforge,
big
Cauldron,
way as
Batterskull
Master Waves
package?
has
Seems to be in a better
prompted
position than
a
it
bit
was
of a
before.
scuffle
It's
here.
okay. I mean, it's not well
Right, and
positioned,
now
but
he's
it's
going
not
to
badly
end step,
positioned.
and
We'll just
Ansi
put it
says,
that
"All right,
way.
it is my time
Because
to
there
go
is a
with
lot
this
of
fight."
removal right
And
now.
Deceiver Exarch
So
has
and like
targeted Vidalcan Shackles
Prismatic
as a
Ending
result.
deals with all the germs.
The
So
Shackles is
the
gonna steal
Stoneblade
it,
deck's
like we
definitely
predicted.
lost a lot of like value. But it's
and I
still
think the
playable.
Vapor
Like I
Snag
mean, if you get
is what
if the
made
board is somewhat
Li
empty, you play
Shijian go
Stoneforge
for it,
Mystic. I mean, you
because
basically just
even
win.
if both shackles are tapped,
There we
he
go.
can still
Okay,
stack
we're gonna
exact
steal a
Vapor
Deceiver
Snag in
Exarch.
response to, Splinter
Now
Twin.
this
That's
game
what
is cooking. We have a Master of
so
Waves
the
with
Vidalcan
one
Shackles
elemental,
gets
which might as well be
activated, targeting
invincible.
Deceiver Exarch. And now Ansi Akio has to decide what he wants to do about that.
That just happened.
And he's
right?
gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
He's gonna do
Now we
nothing.
got Another one.
Now it's a
And
bit
he's able
greedy,
to-
Or does he
but
go
at the
6
same
deep out?
time, like
I think he's gonna play either.
Oh,
an
what's gonna
Exarch or a
happen here?
Pestermite, and
Oh,
he's
another
able to
Deceiver
protect it
Exarch.
Whatever happens with
I
Cryptic.
can't remember. Can it? I
Yeah,
think
he
no. It can only untap your own permanents and tap the opponent's permanents.
No, that's for sure. But then that taps. Oh, you're right. And then
This
he
This match
Deceiver
reminds me of
Exarch
when
is
I
the
just
big
started
man.
Magic.
Got
Man,
it.
Pod
Right,
Twin
so
era
Deceiver
was very
Exarch
different.
enters
Yes,
the
it was
battlefield,
very
gonna
different.
target the other
Even this era is very
Vidalcan
different.
Shackles.
Every era is very different. Has the
Yeah,
player from Hong
Deceiver
Kong gone
Snag is
missing
gonna
yet?
be
Nope.
gigantic.
He is still around.
Tian is going to steal.
He says, "Activate my shackles, steal your
Memory
Deceiver
Lane
Exarch."
Now
Monday,
Akio
not
can
bad.
bounce one of them,
Throwback
which he thinks is
Thursday.
gonna free
You guys have
Exarch
great
so
names
that he
for
can untap and twin
potentially
it
for
up.
any day of
And
the
he's gonna
week.
get But
Does
he
your wife
may
play
get one
Magic? I
down
can't
by
get
the
mine to
snap.
play. My wife does not play
The other
Magic, has no
relevant card
interest
right now
at all.
is Remand.
Period.
I mean, you know,
It's
even
a
though
lost
Vapor Snag is a one-mana
cause.
spell,
If they're interested, they're
the
interested. If
only
they're
thing
not
that
interested, you
Taps out
just
for-
give
he's
up.
going to have to tap out for Cryptic Command. He's tapped completely out.
All right, so,
So
Alex
here's the
taps
window.
out.
Black
Command
Lotus
is
Friday?
gonna say bounce one of your shackles here.
There's nothing to do with the subject matter.
I didn't hear what the other mode was.
Please, okay,
Probably
finally
not.
someone said that the
That happens. He
the
doesn't
commentary's
tap
too
draw.
loud. Yeah, I don't want the commentary to be too loud. I want to just basically hear me, but I don't know what it sounds like for you guys.
Get
Before you
rid of that
untap.
thing. And that's going to put ANC down to 14 and put it back.
Baganomicon. Morning, Nikachu. A question from a baby Merfolk player. How do I correctly use Tide Shaper? It always ends up dying, and I don't have Island Walk I need. Do I have to hold it back instead of turn 2? I would still jam it on turn 2 most of the time. But if it dies, it dies. I don't know what the matchup is that you're in. You could hold it back, but I usually don't. I just try to jam it early because, if anything, you still got value. Because if they had to kill it, then that means that was mana that wasn't spent for them to deploy their game plan to play like a creature or something, like Dragon Rage Channeler, and filter through their deck. So it might have helped you. It might have helped you more than you think to play it on turn 2. But if you don't have Island Walk, you gotta chip away damage some other way. There's always another way against every deck. Tap things down with Trickster, bounce it with Harbinger of the Tides, attack in the air with Subtlety.
He would have had a third creature to go in Li Shitian's end step. Now he can play a third
Billy, this is boring. Why not watch something more compelling? You have to be a blue player to appreciate this. This is, how do I put this? This is for a distinguished taste match.
He wants to get this back on the battlefield here, and ANC again.
Joe, what card in Modern can I use to replace Preordained, Brainstorm, and Ponder? You can use Opt. So you have a few options. You have Opt. You can't stack your deck with any of these things, though. There is no such card that will help you. But if you want to talk about cantrips, there's Opt. There's well, there's Serum Visions. That will stack your deck, actually. You draw a card, then scry 2. There's Consider. That's a new one.
So he has all of them on the battlefield.
And I think that's it. Oh, there's Sleight of Hand if you really need some card draw, like to dig. And I think that's it. Those are all your options. Those are the most popular options.
Like this, if you remand a cryptic, you know, they have enough mana, you can be like, okay, well, just
Snapcaster Mage is a degenerate card. Change my mind. Well, it doesn't see any play at all, so I don't think it's that dangerous. It just sees absolutely no play. GPGP just finished to watch your MTG Vegas video. You don't have the subtleties? Huh? I don't understand your question. Should I buy those? Yes. I would get subtlety. And it's cheap right now. It's like $6. Yeah, I would consider it a Merfolk staple at this point. Get the subtleties.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also could get blocked.
Yeah, this is. I guess it is peak do nothing. Well, we're attacking for 1 a turn now.
Here's some peak technology.
Oh, no, and now he just played peak. He just literally played peak. So realizes, oh, you don't have counter magic. What an interesting thing you got going on over there. You're just BSing the entire time. I had the combo this entire time. Not that they could do anything about it because of the Vidalcan Shackles.
He's got how much mana left? 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
so
with a blue mana source.
Cannot play 2 Exarchs.
That you don't have the subtleties. We'll go get them.
Also only got 1 blue mana.
Go get the subtleties. If you're a Merfolk player, you need the subtleties.
Well, the first Exarch could tap it, and then the second Exarch could be live.
Charles says, am I the only one hoping for a Preordain or Ponder unbanning? No, you're not. But, I wouldn't say I'm hoping for the unbanning, but I just don't care if they get unbanned. I think people are overreacting to those cards. Put on a Bolt U match for the non-blue players, like a Burn versus Burn matchup.
So just making sure that we're abundantly clear here from the
Okay, now this guy's got a thing. Now there is complications here because I think the Exarch is on the stack, and what the Exarch can do, which Li Shichan may not have realized at the time, is that okay, he could steal the Deceiver. Ansi will threaten to target the Vidalcan Shackles, which means Li Shichan is forced to activate it. See, if he goes tap Vidalcan Shackles, he has to activate it and take it. But then he can't play like another Pestermite this turn anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Best 2 out of 3 here in the quarterfinals, And Ansi has been, I mean, he's been waiting and waiting and waiting.
Suggest
and
Legacy
waiting.
matches?
He
I
said he
don't
had
think we'll
a
watch
lead. He would have
Legacy.
known a
Legacy is
long
not
time
popular
ago that
enough.
he actually had a clear way at
This is
multiple
mostly a
times
modern
during
crowd.
this game.
I know you people, some of you, you're
Those finishing
diehard
shots
Legacy
seem
fans,
serious
but
work,
like
especially the
the
second
numbers
half.
prove that modern is
How
just
much
way more
harder that
popular.
makes it for Ansi Alkio to actually go off. He still absolutely can, but it has. Those have been a
Not
nice
close.
insurance plan for Li Shiqian thus far.
James Gilberto, since the Mono Blue upgrades for Merfolk between Subtlety, Archmage's Charm, and Skydiver, and less Lords, how bad does Simic Merfolk feel about now? Simic just feels terrible. Simic is so bad. Simic Merfolk is awful because you're trying to win by playing at a lower curve and being really fast, but it's meaningless because there are free spells in the format like Solitude and Fury, so you're never getting underneath anything. Like, that's the point. Like, trying to get people with Lords is just not going to work.
I like that.
Commander for the views. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a Commander player.
Still trying to decide if he wants to respond here.
Yeah, he is definitely fears the combo.
What are the subtleties? It's called subtlety.
And right now,
It's called. He was spelling it wrong.
He currently has no access to blue mana.
That's right.
Subtlety.
Unlock one of those islands to get him access
And
to
I don't know if it's on MTG Arena. I guess not, because it's not in historic. This is the
then
card that he's
not
talking about.
attacking with Master of Waves doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you're going to fight over the Exarch anyway, so I think he has to. He's kind of reconsidering the line that he thought.
Who's a
about
vintage
instead.
fan? Because Artifacts is a top deck.
He's also trying to map out what the next turn could look like. Remember, Li Shiqian does not know what's in Ansi Alkio's hand. All right, so he lets it resolve.
Okay, so he thought for a long time he's gonna steal the Deceiver Exarch. Now I don't know exactly what happens here. I can't remember.
The Deceiver Exarch with his Vidalcan Shackles.
He might just take his turn.
And this looks like it's going to prompt.
Oh, okay, so he untaps his land. Now he does this again, and now Li Shiqian is screwed because he cannot steal that Deceiver Exarch, and now Twin's gonna come down. And he's fucked. It's
Which is
over.
going to tap him out.
Yeah, but because there's nothing on Alkio's side of the board, summoning sickness will prevent.
Hold on, so was that a mistake? Should he have waited until...
Shiqian will get to untap if he taps out for remand here.
Now, what is the interaction exactly like between Deceiver Exarch and Shackles? Could you untap a Shackles and get your Exarch back? And like have two things to try and
I'm trying to
combo off?
figure out what the hell what just happened. Oh no, he stole the Deceiver Exarch in response to Ansi untapping a land. He was going to untap the land and play Deceiver Exarch anyway. There will be a deck review thing today. We're not going to look at this whole match. It's just impossible. We'll just probably look at this one game.
There's one in the graveyard.
Blue Moon about to get smushed.
Okay, so here's Snapcaster.
Oh, was there a remand?
All right, that's going to get Li Shiqian.
Oh, I guess there was a
So he does have
Snapcaster remand.
one
All right.
card here. Unfortunately, he has
Li
no
Shiqian
mana
is in
available
good
at
shape
all.
to not die.
If he has anything that he wants to do here, he
A lot
can
of
do it. I think
resources
we
were
mentioned earlier
exchanged.
that he doesn't get to just combo off here.
Ansi has an incredibly stacked hand, but it's so clunky.
Up a lot of cards though. He's really
Now, if I remember correctly, so Ansi passes the turn. If I remember correctly, Li Shiqian is supposed to
2, 4, 6, 7. He has 8
let go of both Deceiver Exarchs here because he can't afford to hold on to them. Like, he should just release them. He has the option to keep Vidalcan Shackles tapped and he keeps the creatures, or he untaps the Shackles and gives the Deceiver Exarchs back. And that's exactly what he should be doing. But he doesn't do it. And now he's vulnerable to the combo. Because if he has both Shackles up, then Ansi can't combo off in the face of two Shackles, or it's really hard.
if he gives away the Exarch, then the Exarch can block.
And it's untapped. Okay, so it changes the clock huge.
Really, really hard.
Two-turn clock.
I mean, I guess
Jarl says, I'm playing Magic the Gathering Online now. What the heck is a Blood Moon deck? Sorry, Blood Moon doing in a Teamer deck? What do you mean? This is, do you see that right now on Magic the Gathering Online? Because that's not what's happening here. Martin says, thoughts on just jamming Ren and 6 and Tarmogoyf into a Lurrus/Boros Prowess deck to make it last better into the mid-range. Is this stupid or worth testing? Thoughts on jamming Ren and 6 plus Tarmogoyf into a Lurrus/Boros Prowess deck to make it last better into the mid-range? No, it's definitely worth testing. I just don't know what this list looks like. It sounds... It sounds like Jund, but without black.
And last turn, it meant that you probably would have wanted to attack with those because you fought a fight over the 1/4 anyway.
Did Tasha's hideous laughter get banned? No, not at all. Still
I
legal.
think this one's in combat. I think he's-
Still being used by the mill
he
players.
wants to block.
It's on the stack.
Okay, Deceiver Exarch 1 billion.
Not a big-
End step here.
The life totals change was recorded as 13. to
Yeah,
11,
I
but-
thought I heard Alkia say that he hadn't actually taken
Oh,
the damage,
okay.
but maybe I misheard.
Okay.
Not a huge difference between picking this fight in combat versus picking the fight at end step.
So we see the same loaded hand we've been looking at. 3 counter spells from Alkio.
Ooh, Davey asks, is today a good day to buy a Modern Horizons 2 box to get into the modern format? It is never good to buy a box to get into modern. Basically everyone would recommend very similarly, if you want to get into modern, you have to buy the singles, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to buy a Modern Horizons 2 box, you're going to get a bunch of random cards that don't go into any deck, and then you're going to have to start trading or buying into the cards anyway. So generally speaking, the box is worth more than the cards were inside the box. Because it can't, if the price of the cards inside the box on average is higher than the price of the box, then people will just open the box. So the box is almost always priced more than with the value of the cards inside the box. So if you're going to pay money for the value of cards inside a box, for the value of the actual cards, you might as well just buy the cards themselves. So buying boxes and opening packs to start a collection is almost never a good idea.
Double remand, cryptic command, and here he goes. Splinter Twin on Deceiver Exarch. If this sticks, Ansi Alkio will take game 1 against Li Shitian. So let's see what Li has.
All right, they're going to fight a war over this Splinter Twin.
And before this game, I didn't.
They passed 1 million turns. This is so sad. There's 2 fucking Vidalcan Shackles on the battlefield. 2 of them. Almost embarrassing.
Remember, he has cryptic command, but also double remand and a Snapcaster Mage.
And now, relevantly, with this remand on the stack, Lee can't Snapcaster Mage.
Richard says, if they ban the companion mechanic, do we see any deck just main deck for Lurrus like White Aggrieved did in Standard? I don't know what that is. You mean aggro? I've considered it in Hammer Time. That's possible, but honestly, it is so unlikely that they ban the mechanic. It is way more likely that they just ban the card. Way more likely that they just ban the card. Just say goodbye to Lurrus. I have a feeling, but if they did ban the mechanic, I think Lurrus would still see play.
Li Shitian has 7 untapped mana.
Real question here is what
Isn't Splinter Twin played in Blue Moon anyway? Well, technically no. Because if it's playing Splinter Twin, it's a Splinter Twin deck. But that is so weird. It's playing Cryptic Command. Oh, I guess counter bounce the Master of Waves.
Exactly.
So counter remand, bounce Master of Waves, and that's on the stack right now. Right now we have multiple things in the stack. We have Splinter Twin, that's being targeted by Remand. Remand is being targeted by Cryptic Command. Cryptic Command's also targeting Master of Waves. So
Li Shitian doesn't have anything, right?
Well, I mean, I think what Lee does
he can
is
snap
How about some Tom Ross with 8 rack? We could do that one day.
He can
and then
also
Remand is going to give
We might figure out the better format. Like maybe, like for example, is it better that we have music and we have like no background? Like we just have them on mute? Does this work better? Do we really need to hear their commentary? Maybe not. And we have the classic. We have the classic. What's it called? Coffee and MTG feel, but we just have a game playing in the background. Isn't the format healthy at the moment? Why would we want to ban or unban anything? That is debatable whether it's healthy. Like 80% of results are like companion decks. Now the top 8 of the MTG Las Vegas actually had a lot of non-companion decks between Infect, 2 Amulet decks, I think 1 other decks, but like everything underneath was companion decks. Companion, 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 companion. So there was a lot. It really made you feel like if you're not playing with a companion, you are doing something wrong. Just imagine all the decks that can't compete because they're not meant to go the long game like Lurrus and Yorion decks do. Richard says, agreed, don't want to ban. I think it's great, but I've been thinking about main deck Lurrus for some time, for some reason. Go play main deck Lurrus in a Yorion deck. So you can jam as many companions as possible. Antonio, is it time to run Ashok in the main for decks that can? It does so many things. It can effectively be Blood Moon for black-blue. Yeah, but the problem is, like, by the point that you play Ashok, it might be too late, and it's not going to be the Blood Moon you think it's going to be. Like, if you can get that Blood Moon out on turn 2 on the play, sure, but on turn 3 on the draw, it's quite poor. It's actually really bad. So it's more relegated to like a sideboardish card. Need some Cedric Phillips commentary? Well, we need an SCG match for that. Well, so 75% of the top played cards are from one set, Modern Horizons 2. And it's over. It's over. The Splinter Twin I get. What happened here? So what did this... Did he activate? Did we even see an activation? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Lee? You have nothing to do. I missed the fun. I don't understand what happened. Oh no, he drew a card for remand and then it was over. Yeah. Alright. Make a million, guys. GG! Classic. Just classic. But Li Shitan had some chance in this game. Apparently, there was a point where he has to untap these Vidalcan shackles, give the Exarchs back to his opponent, and then he will have 2 shackles to constantly threaten to steal the one that gets the Splinter Twin. Anyway, it was a very interesting match. Very interesting match. Because every deck in MTG Goldfish is under 10% of the meta? I don't know what that's in reference to. The modern technically is fine. Like, it's diverse. We still have diversity despite all the companions. There's combo decks, there's aggro decks, we have control, we have everything. We actually have everything. Are people sick of the companions yet? Probably not. But I'm just pointing out that, you know, there's a lot of companion decks out there. I guess Lava Dart needs to see more play if Monkey is the Bane of Modern. I don't think Monkey is the Bane of Modern at all. It's a good card. Like, Ragavan is a very, very good card, but I don't think it's the Bane of Modern. Rule 1. Complain about the format unless you have the best deck. Or you bought into the best deck, for sure. Modern has everything. I need a broken combo. Where's that? You play Charbelcher. Charbelcher, I think, is the most broken combo right now. Very strong, very powerful deck. There you go, Charbelcher. If you sneeze on Monkey, it dies. Yeah, but the problem is getting that sneeze on him. It's a squirrely little guy. Antonio says you should give the trivia question you have on Masters of Modern. It was a good one. Yeah, but a lot of people know it here. This is a merfolk crowd. Okay, I'll give it to everybody. You're gonna answer it immediately, though. What is the one merfolk staple that does not have the correct oracle text in non-foil? There's only one merfolk staple that has wrong oracle text in non-foil. Good morning, Miguel. There we go. We got everyone. Lord of Atlantis. That's not the right answer. The answer is just Lord of Atlantis, because Judge Promo... Oh, you mean Judge... Oh, there's... Oh, yeah. No, there is no... No, there is a Judge Promo. Yeah, the Judge Promo, Lord of Atlantis, but that's the only one that is in the correct oracle text. Yeah, the Merfolk fam knows this. It's not so clever in these waters. Yanshevik, I wonder if Piracy Charm could work in Merfolk if 1 toughness creatures are too problematic. Piracy Charm is one of these cards I go back to, because it definitely has potential. It can give it can buff up a creature. It can make a player discard a card. And it can also kill the creature, of course, if it has 1 toughness. So it's a card that I look at every so often, like, is it time for Piracy Charm? Because it's a good card. It is a good card. I like this card. And it gives creatures Island Walk, so that might be relevant in our deck. At least in Merfolk. But no, I don't think it's still not good enough. It has a weird thing where it needs to be better than Gut Shot at the same time, because Gut Shot can also just kill 1 toughness creatures. And for free. Mareep says, I never knew it before that show anyway. Are you a Merfolk player, Mareep? Maybe not. Not all of you are Merfolk players. Not all of you. The Lord of Atlantis trivia question is basically the passcode for entry into the Modern Merfolk Players Launcher. Alright, people. It's time for Decklist review. Spencer, I'm going to do your deck list next week, because you already have a deck list I have to play for you. So I'm not forgetting about you, Spencer, but I'm going to do it next week on Monday. Some people like to pay $25 to paypal.me to guarantee deck list review, but if you're flat broke and you still want your deck list reviewed, hey, we do it. You can do it for free by joining my Discord in the description. You join the Discord, then you go to the channel Decklist Review, and you enter the command !review deck space, give the URL to your deck list, and you can be chosen at random for Decklist Review. Fair random chance. Two-Face would be proud. The only fair way to deliver justice. Alright, let's get on with Decklist Review. We've got SS for Life 1992 with a better Azorius control deck. Well, we'll see about that. Yeah, someone has a paid list to review. I'm going to do it next week. All good. Whenever you get to work it, that's that's number 3 after all. Because I have two lists I have to play like on Sunday. All right, what do we have? It's called Better Azorius Control, but it has Cavernous Souls. Deserted Beach. There's a battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. That sounds terrible. It's like a slow land. Serum Vision, Supreme Verdict, which you can't play early because of Deserted Beach. Ugh. There's a battlefield tapped unless you control 2. Yeah, you need a bunch of lands. Okay, so Archmage's Charm, Counterspell, Cryptic Command, Fading Hope, Force of Negation, Op, Path to Exile. Snapcaster Mage, Solitude, and Subtlety. Planeswalkers, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, Time Raveler, and 2 Chalice of the Voids. Leyline, Mystical Dispute, Solitary. Why Solitary? So at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you discard a card, skip your draw step. Oh, that's interesting with Teferi, or even Jace, because you'll be able to keep that payment up. You have Shroud, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Interesting tech. I have a feeling it doesn't work, but I'll just approve of it right now, because I think it's worth trying. So your job or a hobby? This is technically my job. It's a good job. Okay, this is a piece of shit land. Get rid of this. This is awful. You're gonna have like these hands where you... Anyway, it's awful. It's really bad, especially since you're playing with Op, Path to Exile, and Counterspell. I thought for a second maybe you didn't have anything to do early on in the game. You also have Chalice of the Void that you're gonna play on 1. Also, why the Cavern of Souls? This actually makes no sense to me whatsoever. Just to win a counter war when you want to play like, I don't know, Cavern of Souls on human? Or elemental? Well, they're trying to make things uncounterable, I guess, in this world. But none of these things are particularly important to counter. Like, the thing is, the things that you want uncounterable are your planeswalkers. Like, that's what's going to make or break your game versus another control deck. Consider over opt. You only want consider if you use the graveyard. Oh, and this deck does use the graveyard, yeah. So we should use consider instead of opt. So consider is like, it's opt, but you put cards in the graveyard instead of scrying it to the bottom of your library. And actually, you shouldn't even be running these, though. Okay, you have to make a decision. You want to run opt and Path to Exile, you want to run Chalice of the Void. You can't have both. You actually can't have both. The whole point of playing Chalice in Control right now is to play it on 1. And I would, honestly, I would say this is a good card. It's better to have this. And instead of Path to Exile, you should be playing with Prismatic Ending. And instead of Opt, you should be playing with Spreading Seas. Like, that's why, I don't know if you've been checking the Control decks, but that's why they don't play these 1-drops right now. So if we go look at a Control deck, that is if you want to run Chalice, but I think Chalice is a good card. I think it's worth playing. Let's go find a blue-white control deck. Well, this is sort of like has a little bit more of that. But here's Chalice, and you will not see a single 1-drop in this deck. They got Fire and Ice, they have Supreme Verdict, Prismatic Ending, Counterspell. They don't have any 1-drops in their Chalice of the Void deck. Because once you play Chalice on 1, you'll just screw yourself. So I would recommend playing Chalice, and you remove all your opts, replace Path to Exile with Prismatic Ending, so take out an opt, and you have 1, 2, 4 cards to get rid of. Those could be Spreading Seas, I guess. Which is not too bad. And you can still play Snapcaster Mage, like in the deck. It's not that bad either. But the alternate option is you don't play Chalice of the Void, and you get to keep all your 1-drops, but replace Opt with Consider. That's the only other option. This is a version of Azura's Control that I tweaked to make it run more to my liking. Enjoy. But anyway, this is why they don't play. That's why they don't play like Chalice of the Void and 1-drops in the same deck. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. You're gonna play Chalice on 1, then you're gonna draw Opt, then you're gonna draw your Path to Exile, then you're gonna draw your Serum Visions. You're gonna realize why this doesn't work. Maybe drop in 4 Expressive Iteration. Nah, well then you turn into Jeskai. That has problems in itself. 4 Chalice, cough up $300. Is it that expensive now? Oops. Ooh! That price. $700. Yeah, it's close to 300. It's over 300 in Canadian. Crazy. Anyway, those are my options. That's it. You either remove Chalice and then play the deck like you want to, which is not bad, and that's like the smallest adjustment you have to make. And you can, instead of 2 Chalice, you just add like. You really should be playing with some Prismatic Endings, and then in addition all that, and you have to take out this Deserted Beach. Play anything else. I think Glacial Fortress is a very stock card now in Control, so just play Glacial Fortress because. The only time Glacial Fortress will come into play tapped is if it's your first land. But this is coming to play tapped if it's your first land anyway. So this has the upside of not coming into play tapped afterwards. And you want to have an untapped land, I think, by turn 2. So get rid of the Deserted Beach for Glacial Fortress. How expensive is Glacial Fortress? It's not bad. It's like you can get the Ixalan one for $350. That's good stuff. Riptide Laboratory, I think it's getting really fancy. I think you're not running a whole lot of lands. How many lands? 25 lands? You're really greedy on lands. Like, this is really greedy. And you're running 3 colorless lands. I would suggest taking out the Cavernous Souls and Riptide Laboratory for at least blue/white sources. This is a really greedy control deck. This is really greedy the way you built it. Or yeah, you could play some Pathways is fine too. So actually, I take it back. Instead of Chalice of the Void, you should take it out and play lands if you want to go this route. But this deck is really greedy. It's really greedy. Please take my advice to heart. And good luck with the deck list. One thing I could suggest is try not to reinvent the wheel. I feel like you took like a stock list and you made a lot of changes to it. When really you should just be making some small tweaks. But then again, you could build the control deck you want to build if you understand why they play the cards that they do. Like, no control deck is playing Chalice of the Void with a bunch of 1-drops, except Prismatic Ending, because they can pay for more than one to get around the 1-drop issue. So they can pay it for 2 or 3 to you still even exile 1-drops. Alright, we got Affectionate Isopod. Budget food. Ooh, neat. Actually, this is pretty cool. This is super cheap. This is awesome. 4 ticks. You could rent that with Mana Traders with their free account. If anyone doesn't know, Mana Traders has a free 7 ticks account, so you could definitely get this. This is awesome. Does this work? So we have Azmarano, Cauldron Familiar, Oval Chase Daredevil, Feasting Troll King. Wow, Feasting Troll King not worth a lot of money. So Bone Shards to discard stuff, Duress, Dissenter's Deliverance, destroy target artifact. Is that necessary? Edge of Autumn, if you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. This doesn't seem necessary at all. Underworld Cookbook, Witch's Oven, sacrifice a creature, Nettle Cyst. Nettle Cyst is like the budget of the deck. Trail of Crumbs. Enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may pay 1. If you do... How do you discard cards for Azmarano? That's the question I have. How do you discard cards? You have just... I think you should play with more Bone Shards. You actually have no... Like, I think you should have more Bone Shards in this deck. And it would be good interaction. I don't even think it's necessary. I don't even know what all this stuff is for. Why do you want to dig for lands? You have more than enough lands in this deck. And you only have... Also, the cards that dig for lands, you only have, like, 10... What's it called? You have 10 green sources, which is, like, not really enough. I would try to make this mono black, because the green doesn't seem to be useful for anything except Nature's Claim. Ooh, Blood Fountain. So this is for cycling, but this is not. Trail of Crumbs. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you can pay 1. If you do look at the top 2 cards of your library, you may reveal a permanent card from among them. Put into your hand, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I think you can remove some swamps for green if you want to use... Trail of Crumbs is okay. But I still would play with more Bone Shards. To get Oval Chase Daredevil in the graveyard and also to play Azmarano. You'd play Blood Fountain? When Blood Fountain enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Sacrifice it, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. It's not bad, actually. Blood Fountain, maybe we should play with Blood Fountain instead of this Dissenter's Deliverance. I think you should add more forests to this deck. You only need... I think you can get away with 15 black sources. This is 17, so you should remove 2 swamps for 2 more forests. And then you have 12 forests. I think that's just enough to make like stuff like enchantments like Trail of Crumbs work. But I think Edge of Autumn and Trail of Crumbs are like really clunky. Street Wraith I think is very expensive. This is a budget deck, by the way. It's starting to look like a Pioneer deck. How expensive is Ravenous Squirrel? Oh, it's cheap actually. It's worth nothing. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Maybe this is a good deck for Ravenous Squirrel. What, instead of Trail of Crumbs? Maybe it's better than Trail of Crumbs. I will say I'm very sus of these green cards. Like, they don't look like they even... You could probably make this deck mono black. And that would help the mana base by a lot, because then you don't need to run the Force or the Llanowar Wastes anymore. Like, imagine instead of 2 Dissenter's Deliverance, you just play with 4 Bone Shards, right? 4 Bone Shards. I don't know, maybe you play with Ravenous Squirrel instead of Trail of Crumbs, and then 3 of some other card. Is Street Wraith so cheap? It's okay. It's not the cheapest, but I guess it's okay. Maybe we won't break the budget here if we go with 4 Street Wraiths. Hell, we'll save some money getting rid of Llanowar Wastes. And then Nature's Claim. You just open your sideboard for some other cards. I would go mono black. Actually, I think this is such a cool deck. This is such a cool deck. This is so... I think you should make it like mono black, and it would be super budget, and it would be really cool. Unless you can convince me Trail of Crumbs is like really good. Edge of Autumn is useless to me. If you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tap and shuffle your library. Cycling, sacrifice a land. I don't know how much I love that. Sack a land to get a land. It's like unless there's some synergy to this that I don't know about. It's not quite discarding a card. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return. And that would work really well with the, what is it called, the Blood Fountain. So we could. So I guess the idea is we remove 4 Edge of Autumn for 4 Blood Fountain. Remove 3 Trail of Crumbs and 1 Dissenter's Deliverance. Or 3 Trail of Crumbs for the Ravenous Squirrel. And then 2 Dissenter's Deliverance for 2 Bone Shards. Oh, and I don't know what to take out for. I don't know. Okay, maybe we play with Ravenous Squirrel or Street Wraith. You have to figure out which one's better. These streams feel like a planned out video. It's like you always know what to say. Very high quality. I improvise the best I can. Fatal Push? I don't think we can reliably use Fatal Push. These decks usually use Bone Shards because you want that discard outlet. And we don't play with fetch lands. I think Bone Shards is great anyway. So either Ravenous Squirrel or Street Wraith would be good. And I think this deck looks awesome. I think it's so cool that we can get like such a... It almost... If we get rid of this green stuff, it really looks like a modern deck. And then if we just go mono black, how much is Castle Lothwain? Ah, it's too much money. Damn it. Is there a good black, mono black card that we could play? I don't know. Feasting Troll King gets hella weaker without Trail of Crumbs, does it? When it enters the battlefield, you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens, sacrifice 3 foods, return Feasting Troll King from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate this ability only during your return. Like that's the whole idea. You're using the Underworld Cookbook. No deck used Trail of Crumbs. Did like the food decks play Trail of Crumbs? Or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they played Trail of Crumbs. Did the food decks ever play this card? I thought they just completely relied on Underworld Cookbook or Asmorano to find the Underworld Cookbook. And if worst case scenario, you just dump this thing into your graveyard. Yeah, we have enough. I think we have enough. Also, we're going to have Blood Fountain. We might have Blood Fountain. I don't know. Try out those cards. And go mono black, and I think this deck is delicious. I think this is a really cool deck. It's really nice because it's so cheap, and it almost looks like a tier 1 deck. Except like the mana base is going to be like mono black swamps, but outside of that, it looks like an actual tier 1 deck. Or maybe not tier 1, maybe tier 2 is the right word, but it doesn't look like it's compromising on anything except for maybe duress, like bone shards. Like these are all tier cards. It's just the mana base will look a little funny. But they don't have Asmo food. They do have Asmo. And they got food. Oh my god, it's Friday. No school tomorrow, let's go! Or if you're in a situation like me, I never go to school. Or I go to school when I want to go to school. Anyway, alright, sweet deck. Nice, thank you very much for sharing. Hopefully that helps. And that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG today. So get in your Black Friday day shopping. Have a lot of fun. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck lists, hey, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you love Coffee and MTG and you love to support the channel, but you don't do so already, you could always drop a sub at twitch.tv. You could become a patron at patreon.com, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. There's a join button right next to the subscribe button. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. Don't forget, Fusion Gaming Online. This is a big sale. Like, this is the biggest sale. Like, I have to go decide what I want to buy from them because, like, it doesn't get bigger than this. You get up to, 25% off if you spend enough, but also an additional, like, 5% with my coupon code. That's, like, 35% off is just insane. It's just insane. Usually I'm, like, saving up all my money and store credit for this one point of the year. And, see you guys next stream. Have fun. Take care. See you later.